Hey, it's me. I just wanted to create a quick video looking back at the 10 years I spent as an organizer of Code Blue. This year, I retired. My staff accepted my retirement, and I'm grateful for everybody involved, sponsors and organizing committee and staff that let me retire this year after 10 years. But I did give a quick speech at the networking party, but some of you might have not caught it, so I figured I'd share some of my thoughts here. After 10 years, I retired. One of my primary reasons is that I want to get out of the way before I get in the way, but also I'm really, really tired about being on the staff of a conference floor. Because technically I started in 2004, so I've been doing it for 18 years by this year. And I just want to go back to being a regular hacker, some dude in some basement or some workshop doing weird but fun stuff. Organizing a conference is very rewarding. Getting involved with a conference, either as a speaker or staff, is very rewarding. And if you're thinking about it, I would definitely suggest you give it a try, because it's technically a shortcut of meeting, the best way of meeting people who share your same interests. Attending conferences is one thing, but being part of it is the next level up. And I made some great friends. I met some very interesting people. I met people that I was a fan of, or I didn't think that they would give me their time and day, and I approached them and we became good friends. I mean, Dark Matter is one of them. I was a fanboy of his for a long time. Same with Lost, and Grifter, and Joe Grant, and Russ Rogers, and everybody. All my good friends that I consider good friends, I met them through getting involved. So it's definitely worth your time. I know it can be scary, but in reality, it isn't that bad. It's just, it's a learning experience. I learned a lot after doing so many conferences. 10 years at Code Blue, the biggest surprise I had was that I really enjoyed working with students. If it wasn't for Code Blue, I would have never gotten involved in with working with university students or high school students who really are interested in coming in. I also learned about managing them, and how to handle the teams in a way that, I didn't think I had it in me. So, yeah, definitely get involved in being a staff member at a conference. I would highly recommend it for anybody, because you will learn a lot about yourself, and you also will learn a lot about other people. So I mean, looking back at 10 years, I mean, there's a lot of things that went on, and I had some big fights with my staff, not with the students, but with the other organizers, and I lost speakers. I had speakers show up too drunk to give a talk. I had the whole vendor booth section collapse one year right before we opened the doors, and so we had to fix that. And I was joking with somebody, and I said, that's the CTF, that's the kind of CTF I enjoy, is that give me a problem and let me solve it. You also learn to kind of ignore the noise. I go on Twitter and people are complaining about things that I have absolutely no control over, like weather, or just like I can't control those kind of things, but we also have, I saw a lot of people come up to me and say, attending Code Blue inspired them to go in the industry, and now they're working at a vendor, or they started their own company, or they thanked us for everything that we build. And I'm grateful for that, and it warms my heart to hear those kind of feedback. So looking back at 10 years, I had a lot of fun. The student volunteers, So at Code Blue, we have a student volunteer program where university or high school students, they go through the selection process and we let them volunteer at our event. And, seeing them, take off into corners of the world that I would have never known, really, really warms my heart. And, I'm like, that's kind of cool, and it inspires me. So I had fun doing that. And that's the interesting about conferences, right? Yes, the talks and the research matters. I don't think that, if you go to a conference, you shouldn't go to the talks because they are available online is a good point. I don't think that's the case. People put a lot of time and effort into the research, and you should definitely hear the presenter present their research. But at the same time, the more valuable portions are the analog human interaction, I think. Like I said, I made a lot of friends over my, 18 years of being involved on the floor. 18 years ago when they asked me to, I didn't know I was a hacker until, they just needed somebody who could speak English, Japanese, and knew how to put up an event. And having a theater background, I knew how to put up an event, so I went to the ground and like, wow, this world is kind of cool. I didn't know this world existed, so I learned a lot. And I started going to DEF CON and other conferences, and initially I was just an attendee, and I was just kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. The more and more I got involved, I made a lot of great friends. So the human interaction part is very important, I think. There are people, all kinds of people that I met, and some people I'm great friends with now, and some people I'm like, I'm okay with not being friends with them. So, but part of me retiring is that I wanted to create a way out, right, for an exit way, so that the newer people could come in easier. I'm happy for what we have built, right? But I also am sad that I'm still running the show, or I was still running the show. I wish I could retire a long time ago, and hand it off to another team that would come up with ideas that I've never thought about. Conference formats are now kind of set in. You have your workshop, you have your training, you have your presentations, you have the vendor area, if you have a vendor area. You have a CTF, and it's kind of cookie cutter, and I wish there was more innovation happening in that space too, So, over the 18 years, I've seen conferences come and go. It's easy to put up an event 1 year. It's hard to keep it going. So, but it's even harder to create a healthy mechanism so that the old timers could move on and pass the torch, right? Because, looking at all of this that we have right now, it's thousands and thousands of years of somebody going, fuck, this shit doesn't work. And this is the pinnacle of where we at this moment, right? And, creating a healthy way of new ideas to come in is a very difficult process. So, in reality, I announced my retirement to the staff a couple years back, and I spent the last 3 or 4 years making sure that I shared what I learned, not in a way as a manual, but in a way of me sharing my experiences, so that they had at least some kind of reference point if they were going forward with, organizing a conference. So, and that's true in all kind of aspects of life, I feel, that the answer to your problem doesn't necessarily always lie ahead of you, right? It's hiding in the bushes to the side, or on the other side of the planet, or on a different planet, or, underground, or somewhere that you don't expect where the answers are. And, getting involved and getting your hands dirty, sharing tears, blood, sweat, fighting, all to create something new helps you find the answer you're looking for in those hidden places, right? And it could be other people might have an idea of where you should look at. So, it's not as easy as it looks, but at the same time, it's not as hard neither. So, get out, get involved. I think is always good. And you look at some of the people that I've met, or some people that that we all know. The truly great ones, they all have a story, either to tell or be told by others, right? It's the human part that makes them interesting, or it makes them inspiring. Yeah, the research is an important part of it, but the person, giving that story, I always find more interesting. So, yeah, I had fun the last 10 years. I'm grateful for everybody involved. 10 years ago when we started this, it was hard for us to get recognition among, some of the organizations that are now fully behind us. So, it's been a wild ride, but time for me to move on. So I don't think of my retirement as I'm done. I'm just moving on to doing some new things, I want to be inspired by others, I want to see what other people come up with when it comes to organizing conference. I remember one night at DEF CON, I was I went out to dinner with friends. There were like 6 of us, and it turns out we all have our own conference to organize, and that dinner became a little bit like a conference organizer support group. Like, well, we were all like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Or that's a great idea. Or like, don't you hate it when this? Don't you hate it when that? Code Blue, in that way, is a very lonely existence in Japan, because we're primarily, we're the biggest conference in Japan, and we don't have many people to talk to when it comes to that. Yeah, we have conference organizers from all over the globe, but at the same time, there's the uniqueness of Code Blue makes it sometimes a lonely existence. I have no idea who's going to watch this video, but I hope that if you're somebody who's thinking about getting involved, get involved. If you're somebody who's looking to become a hacker, I'm a horrible teacher, so I can't teach you how to be a hacker, but I can share the experiences as a hacker. And like I said, go out, experience life, because that experience is gonna be your ammunition during the tough times. It's gonna be the armor that will protect you from the hard times. It's gonna be the sword that will allow you to cut through the problems that you face. And it's the story that you're gonna tell others, or others will tell about you. So, yeah, go experience life. Go experience conferences. Go experience being a staff at a conference. Regardless if you're going to be involved or not, you're going to spend endless nights looking at your code going, why doesn't this work? Only to realize that you missed a bracket or a column or something, and you're going to start doubting everything on it, if you're on the right path or not. But if you made people that you can ask for help by experiencing life, it's a shortcut. So definitely, I would strongly recommend getting involved. So I don't know. It's a bit of a rant, but I figured I'd share some of my thoughts. Thank you all the speakers, all the sponsors, all the attendees over the last 10 years or 18 years if you came to Black Hat Japan. I'll see you at conferences as an organizer, not only more as an organizer, but as an attendee. I am looking forward to being able to complain about conferences on Twitter, so no, I'm not. If you're organizing conferences, good luck to you, and I'll see you around.